Precise measurement is crucial here. At 855.2 kilograms, we can accurately monitor growth rates across the herd.
One cancel, money there.
How does a simple piece of cowhide begin its journey?
Finchers. In a separate area of the plant, machines and trained staff remove the hides in a controlled, hygienic process.
At the leather processing plant, pallets of salted cowhides arrive from meat factories, ready to be turned into usable leather. Workers unload the salted hides and stack them on pallets, keeping them cool and preserved.
A fleshing machine removes remaining tissue from the back of the hide, creating an even thickness for tanning.
In dehairing drums, chemicals and motion loosen and remove most of the hair from the hide surface.
After this stage, the hide is clean and mostly hair-free, ready to be split and tanned.
Splitting machines divide thick hides into top grain and lower split layers, each used for different leather products.
These processed hides now move on to the tanning drums, where they'll be turned into stable, long-lasting leather.
Each hide has already been tanned, but it still needs to be carefully checked before it can become a luxury bag. Workers unroll every piece on large inspection tables to reveal its full shape, grain, and color.
Skilled inspectors look for scars, insect bites, holes, and uneven areas that could ruin the finished surface. They also measure the thickness with precise gauges, making sure it matches the standards for high-end handbags.
By bending and flexing the leather, they test softness and strength, so the bag will keep its shape for years.
Good areas are outlined for cutting, while weaker zones are marked and avoided during production. Each hide is graded by quality and sorted into different stacks for outer panels, straps, or inner parts.
Higher-grade leather is reserved for visible outer surfaces, where even a tiny defect would be easy to see.
Detailed labels track batch numbers, origin, and color, so every finished bag can be traced back. Only the best selected hides move on to the cutting section. Here, raw cowhides arrive salted and stiff to prevent them from rotting during transport.
In the first stage, the hides are washed and soaked to remove salt, dirt, and blood.
They're loaded into huge rotating drums with water and chemicals to open up the fibers.
As the drum slowly turns, chemicals penetrate deep inside, turning raw hide into stable leather. Workers pull out test pieces to check how soft and flexible the tanned leather has become.
Next, fresh dyes are mixed to match the exact color required by the luxury brand.
The dyes are poured into new drums, where tanned hides will slowly absorb the chosen color. Inside the drum, the hides tumble in the colored solution until they wreath a rich, even tone.
After dyeing, excess liquid is drained, and the leather is squeezed to remove as much water as possible.
The hides are then hung or clipped onto drying frames. where air and heat finish the drying process.
Spray booths add finishing layers that protect the surface and give the leather a uniform look. Heated plates and rollers smooth the grain and set the final texture and shine. Technicians check color consistency and thickness again, making sure it meets luxury brand standards.
Paper and plastic templates show the exact shapes for fronts, backs, sides, straps, and lining. Workers carefully position these templates on the best parts of each hide to avoid defects and save material. A single bag can need dozens of pieces: front and back panels, side gussets, base, pockets, handles, and reinforcement strips.
Steel cutting dies are placed over the leather, acting like powerful cookie cutters for thick material. After each press, workers remove the cleanly cut pieces and stack them in neat piles.
For complex patterns, a CNC cutting table uses a digital knife to follow computer-drawn shapes. Cut parts are sorted into trays, fronts in one, backs in another, sides, bases, and pockets each in their own section.
Workers count complete sets, so every handbag receives exactly the pieces it needs for assembly. Long strips for handles and straps are cut separately, then punched with holes for stitching and hardware. Once every piece is cut, sorted, and counted, the trays move to the stitching line to become a finished bag.
Design sheets show the exact logo layout, spacing, and angle that must be followed for every single piece. Guides and markings help workers keep the pattern straight, so the logos line up perfectly on the finished bag. Engraved metal plates or rollers carry the repeated monogram design that will be pressed onto the leather.
Workers in blue uniforms carefully mount these plates into embossing machines and adjust pressure and heat. Right after embossing, workers inspect the grain and depth to be sure every logo is sharp and consistent.
For some materials, a printing roller applies the pattern in a continuous strip across the leather surface. Thin layers of color or protective coating are added, enriching the tone and protecting the printed logos.
The coated leather passes through drying tunnels or racks, where heat cures the finish into a durable layer. When cutting, workers align templates so the logos sit centered and straight on each bag panel.
Only well-aligned pieces are approved, then stacked as outer panels for high-end handbags. Inspectors compare each panel to a master sample, checking that pattern repeat and logo position are exact.
With the monogram surface complete, these panels are ready to be stitched into a recognizable luxury bag.
High-speed machines create strong, even seams that hold the bag's shape together.
Before sewing, workers carefully align the panels so the pattern flows smoothly across seams.
Side seams are sewn in long, straight lines to join the front, back, and side panels.
Corners and curves are stitched slowly and carefully, so the bag holds a clean, precise shape.
Soft fabric linings are stitched to the leather shell, hiding raw edges and protecting the inside. Top stitching along the opening locks the lining in place and adds a clean, finished look.
Before finishing, some edges are thinned or skived so folds lie flat and seams don't feel bulky. For handles, leather strips are folded and glued before stitching, adding strength and comfort.
Metal rings and reinforcements spread the stress from the handles across a wider area of leather. Heat and pressing help the seams settle into their final shape and give the bag a crisp outline.
In tight or delicate spots, hand stitching adds control that machines can't easily match. With stitching and assembly complete, these bag bodies move on to receive their final hardware and finishing touches. Each finished bag is carefully placed into a branded box, ready for storage and shipping. After packaging, finished bags are stored in a warehouse area, organized on racks by model, color, and destination.
Finally, the finished bag reaches the display shelf, ready to be seen and purchased by customers.